they all saw it, or but like between last night and this morning, have you had conversations about how they received it?
Uh, Not necessarily how they received it, but we talked about it. And we talked about how slippage can be invisible and how we have to continue holding each other accountable. We talked about getting a little complacent with some of the wins and not showing appreciation for the process and different steps that you need to take in order to try to be a champion or sustain a winning culture. So we talked about those things today to add on to it. But at the end of the day, the culture that we created here, led by our leadership, is one of accountability, and there's a trust component that everybody has embraced to where you could be direct with each other. And I don't want anybody to have any misconceptions. This is a players' league. I've known that from day one. Uh, when I went and worked as an assistant for Pop in the early 2000s, after my first year, we were having a staff meeting, and we were talking about some of the things that he was going to say to the players during the exit meetings. And we started talking about Tim Duncan, and one of the first things Pop said was, I need to thank Tim. What you call him Timmy, but I need to thank Timmy, and that was pretty much it. And so I was like, what are you thanking Timmy for? And he said, hey, at the end of the day, this is a players' league, and Tim Duncan allows me to coach him, and he allows me to coach him hard. If he didn't allow me to coach him or coach him hard, I wouldn't be here, and you guys wouldn't be here. And I want to make sure he understands the appreciation that I have for that, because that sets the tone with the rest of the group. It's no different. Foxy and Domas, HB as well, they allowed me to coach them. And they understand that I appreciate that. And I'm not going to take advantage of it. But yet still they embrace everything that I say, and they try to uphold their position as leaders of this team so that everybody can be better. But then at the end of the day, because they embrace the way I coach, it makes it easier for me to coach everybody else just as hard.
Coach, you last night you were a little concerned, not concerned, but you had spoke about Darren, speeding it up a little bit instead of just waiting around the fourth quarter, to do his damage. Had you spoke to him about that? Just try to get it a little bit earlier than just waiting around to the fourth quarter.
Well, it's not a. I'm not looking for Foxy to score 20 in the first 10 minutes or even the first two quarters. I just want him to be in tune and to attack every possession like it's his last. And that, again, that as a leader, as an elite player or an all-star, an all-NBA player on your team, that doesn't mean every time down you go get a bucket. If you're coming off a pick and roll, come off the pick and roll aggressive, not necessarily to score all the time, but to draw the next man in. So now when you kick it, it's an easier shot for Keegan Murray because he's that much more wide open. Pick and roll situation in the middle of the second quarter, even if we're up 15, your job is to get into the ball and get over the top. Don't relax and say, well, hey, we're up 15, let me go underneath, when we know that guy is a shooter. Just a lot of little things that he, as well as everybody else, can lock in on from the beginning of the game until the end. And if we do that, that's something I always talk about, playing closer to 48 minutes, playing closer to 48 minutes. So, and if he does that, because it starts with he and Domas, everybody else will fall in line. And we won't need him to do everything heroically like he does for us now in the last 5 minutes of ball games.
How cognizant of you, or are you of the timing of that message, given you guys are on a 7-1 run since the break? It's a national TV game, a big win in front of the country. Like, in your mind, did you feel like these guys might need to hear kind of a harsh message just because of, maybe they're feeling themselves a little bit too much?
Oh, it was the right time, because I don't want to be one that is a certain way just because we lost. You know, that there's a standard that we all have set. And if that standard's not met, then somebody needs to speak on it. And sooner than later, that somebody is going to be Domas and Foxy, not me. And when that happens, that's when we're really going to take off.
Are you still as fired up today or this afternoon as you were last night?
No, I mean, I got a good night's sleep, so Chef Brian put eggs and bacon and potatoes in my belly this morning, as well as a banana smoothie, strawberry banana smoothie, so I'm feeling pretty relaxed right now.
A tasty meal and a good night's sleep after. Are things as glaring as you felt like they were at the time when you were as fired up as you were?
Oh, it's the same. I mean, we got hammered on the offensive glass, and you give the Knicks a lot of credit because when you do watch the film, you could see how aggressive they were every time the shot went up, and you could see our lack of physicality in that game when it came to boxing guys out, from our top player down to the last player that played, and that can't happen. That still has to change, you know. We addressed it though. The one thing I even told this group, that doesn't mean you can't celebrate a win or feel good about a win, because we won the ball game. But like I said earlier, we have a standard that we set for ourselves, and we didn't meet that standard, and so it needed to be addressed. But again, I don't want anybody to misunderstand. I'm not taking away from the win, or the joy of the win, or the joy of playing the game of basketball. We still have to have that in whatever we do. We're a team that plays fast, we're a team that plays loose, but with a certain amount of discipline that has to lead to a certain amount of accountability from all of us. That has to be there. And so at the end of the day, the message got across to our guys. We got another team tomorrow with a big fella Nathan. You know, let's see how we do now when it comes to keeping guys off the glass, because we can't go into the playoffs letting that happen to us.
Coach Brown, you know, this team, one game off from hitting 40 for this organization. And I don't know, you know, the history behind that. A couple more games, you know, you got to win in the season. Just want to, you know, get your thoughts on that, you know, hitting that plateau with still a lot of games left.
I don't know much about it. I saw something where some fans were chanting 40 after a summer league game. I didn't really dive into it, and some people I don't know much about it. Again, I know I didn't take the job with a goal in mind to win 40 games, so it's not a plateau that I think about, and I hope I don't take offense to. I hope I'm not offending anybody. But we need to keep winning, and whatever we end up with. But right now, we're in control of our destiny, and so we need to seize that by the horn and go get it.
Do you want the fans to say
Last one,
you're
guys.
going to
We
a
got to go.
championship?
What's that?
Do you want the fans to say you're going to a championship now, the Salute State 3 fans? Or did that video?
Hey, that's we fighting for a championship just like everybody else. So if they want to say that, I'm okay with them saying that, because we're not here to win 40. I know that much.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank y'all. Thank you guys.